Going up against Riga Kalfas here in match number 2. Greg, winner of match number 1, will get us started here in the first. Hangs the 10.
Opening with a much better shot than he did the first game, George, and paying the price for the amped up speed and a little tighter line, leaves a crash 10.
And of course, he started the first match on that lane with a big old split. I'm sure he'll take the spare over that.
Greg has a very appropriate job this time of the year. He's a data transcriber for the IRS.
Works for the IRS.
But
Well,
he's
he's
a
the
busy
best
man.
bowler I've ever seen.
I'll tell you what, his game looks sound.
It is. That,
future in this game.
you got that right.
Hope my check gets back in a hurry.
That's right. Hope they don't look over that form too closely either.
Tell you what, I'm glad I paid somebody to do mine. I look at all that stuff and I just get a headache thinking about it, George.
Here's Riga Kalfas. The lefty opens with a strike.
George, I was talking to Ron Bonnet as he exited today after his defeat, and I said, you know, looking back now, what would you think a harder ball and not going with the big arc would have helped you? And his opinion was absolutely, but he hasn't been able to find a harder shell ball that he's comfortable with. And Riga right now using, I believe that's a slate, isn't it, Jen?
Oh, I don't know, Dave.
Yeah,
Tell you the truth, no comment.
Looks like a slate to me, and if it is, we're talking a ball that's approaching the 90 hardness range and designed to go further down the lane.
Working here.
Well, the angle's much better, and we can take a look at the pin action throughout the match. Riga Kalfas will keep the ball in tighter. Here we go. Take a look at it. Going down the lane, now it goes into a break there, but not the real hard break that we saw Ron Bonnet. Gets the desired result. 10 pins working over time.
Fiegel now up in the second.
Good shot, just a tiny bit high.
Fiegel throws the ball well. He seems to know what he's doing out on the lanes, definitely. But once again, it seems like he is trying to, you know, make something happen with a ball that really doesn't look like it's designed for the condition out there today. And you players at home, if you have two bowling balls and one of them isn't working, or you're trying to make it do something different, that's not the idea. You've got another piece of equipment, change the equipment rather than your game.
He's been holding pretty much to the same line since he started today. Worked in game number 1.
And of course, Dave, you said after his 180 game that wouldn't be enough against Riga, and he already has a double.
Take a look at this shot. This is about as good as you can throw one. Oh, there you go. 12th board. It's down there. It's going to launch the 5 straight back. Almost leaves a stone 9. Would have been a bad break, but you can take a look at the score sheet. Greg is a little behind in the match, but Riga, we watched him 2 weeks ago. Perfect game, almost. The first 10, and then an errant shot on the 11th frame.
Avoids the split here in the third.
Remind you once again, folks, if you're watching and somebody's got a string, if they happen to get all of them, 12 strikes, a 300 game, we pay them how much, Jim?
15 grand.
Not too shabby. Riga's had 6 300 games in his career. Of course, he won't get one this game, but...
Well, kind of an interesting story, George. He left our telecast that day, came down here to the pin house to bowl in the qualifier, and you know what he shot? How about a 300 game, huh?
Is that right?
Incidentally, the last shot was straight through the nose. Absolute collapser.
I'm sure he'll be glad that you brought that up, Jen.
Of course, that one wasn't worth 15 grand,
Since
was it?
I don't have one, I'm going to try to put people down to do.
No, that particular one wasn't worth 15. Only if it's bowled on the telecast. However, he gets a lovely award ring from the BPA, and I think they kick in $100 too, George.
I could live with that.
Beats a lot of pats on the back. I mean, $100 in a ring. It's a nice looking ring too. The BPA takes care of their people.
He came up high on that one.
A little bit of an overcorrection, I believe. Right-hand lane, he went a little wide, and then there he kind of yanked the ball up.
And he's looking to hold the spare here in the fourth and keep the heat on Greg Fiegel.
Riga's a good spare shooter. He'll be going cross lane, and I'm relatively sure he's going to bring this 610 back. Piece of cake.
Greg Fiegel with a chance to make up some ground here with the strike up in the third.
Again, those of you that don't tune us in every week and you happen to see Greg patting his ball there with his rosin bag, you notice the cloud of dust that went up. Well, you've got to wipe that ball off before you throw it down the lane. You can have stuff in your finger holes, but not on the ball.
Crosses over.
Completely errant shot there, George. He was off balance, pulled the ball. One more thing wrong, and it would have turned out to be a Brooklyn, and then it would have been right. But
he holds it, and now trails by about 8 pins through 4 frames. So nobody really jumping out and taking control of this match. Greg with a 180 over Ron Bonnert's 166 in game number 1. The 180 just may not do it in match number 2.
a little more loft, and it's going to hold. That was a great shot. Seems like the key today is going to be on the lofting ball and getting it down the lane. Take a look at it here. It's out onto the lane. Watch it. It holds the line. That's going to be the ticket today. Get it over the heads. Stone cold strike, and go get a stone cold Hudy right now, and then merge on back. We'll be right back with you in a minute.
Demand. I can get comfortable with it.
Where do you go for your bowling equipment? Head to Tri-State Bowling Supply, especially for bowling balls. Tri-State is the local headquarters for the full line of Columbia 300 bowling balls. If you need less weight, the light dot. Drier lanes, the white dot. The perfect all-round ball, the world-famous yellow dot. If you're ready for urethane, the Columbia U-Dot. Stop by to see the remarkable new Vector 1 and Vector 2 now available. Tri-State Bowling Supply, 27 years of sales and service. The Bowler's Pro Shop.
High above the blue chip city, Seven Hills, lies one of the West's favorite entertainment centers, Western Bowl, where in January, the Honkey Classic began another year of competitive tournament bowling. Since 1975, over $1 million in prize money has been awarded each year to men and women bowlers. Additional early bird prizes are paid to winners during the first 6 weeks of the Honkey Classic, the world's largest handicap tournament. Share in the excitement. Western Bowl on Glenway Avenue, Western Hills.
If your car pulls to one side, if your steering wheel is off-center, your car could be out of alignment. At Midas, trained professionals with the latest technology align your car right. Midas realigns foreign cars and light trucks too, the right way. Before your tires show uneven wear, have your alignment checked, or you could be shortening tire life and taking risks. You see, we're serious about safety. Hey, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
We're back with match number 2 here in the 5th frame, and it's a tight one. It is a tight one. Riga Kalfas up here.
Never a dull moment here on BPA King of Bowling, huh?
Live TV.
Not a very live 7-pin for Riga. Hey, where's George?
Hey, there's my man in the middle, Dave Godel.
Or is it Godel?
That's the French pronunciation,
okay,
but
right.
we'll go with Godel.
Okay.
Dave in the middle there, Tri-State Bowling Supply employee.
One of our many sponsors that we're happy to see come out for the telecast as we watch Riga bring back the 7-pin.
He's got a few fans here trying to crank him up.
Well, Riga's a very popular guy all through town, George. He's very likable. He's got some emotion, but yet he doesn't let those emotions drift into the negativisms. But Riga's a good player, and he's making a ball change here. He's going to the ball that I personally think that he throws better than anyone else can throw a plastic ball nowadays, and we'll see if the ball change is going to make a difference in the last half of this match.
Do you see a lot of plastic balls these days? I mean, it seems like with the new materials coming out, you just don't see them as much.
Well, you give up some pin carry. Well, when you throw them that perfect, you don't have to worry about pin carry.
There you go.
But you're right, George. The urethane's taken over, but we can watch this plastic ball. The name of the game is get the ball to the pocket. And if the surface will let you do that, the pins should take care of themselves.
That was just buried.
See him talking to the king back there. Or we call him the prince. 19 years old. I don't know if he's old enough to be a king, but...
Well, he is on this show, and he's waiting in the wings for the winner of this one.
And, of course, collecting $1,000 a week along the way. Oh, Greg.
Oh.
Greg Fiegel going to open the door wide for Riga to come running through with a split on lane 10. He leaves the 4, 6, 7. Almost unmakeable. He gets the 2 on a strike, and you heard Jen rooting him on back there, and that's because 2 pins on a strike is like getting 4 pins added to your total.
Yeah, he falls behind here, though. May have to get things cranked up now, because if Riga found the magic formula with that last shot, who knows what he's liable to close out with.
Well, you're right, George. Once he locks in on a shot and he's comfortable with it, he can shoot anything. But I don't think we're going to see Greg roll over and play dead yet.
Not at all. That was a good answer right there. With the strike in the 6th.
You see one of the betting house people. How many we got here today,
We've
Jen?
got Roger, we've got Dan, and we've got Jerry.
We got all 3 of them. Okay.
We're in good shape with the betting house boys. Of course, they run such fine establishments.
3 of them around town, you're right. Crossgate.
Eastgate and Penthouse.
Penthouse was where we're at today. Riga Kalfas on the right-hand lane. Let's see if the plastic ball's the answer. Much, much better, really. Much better, really. Better ball reaction out of Riga. He likes it. It's something he can work with. Take a look at it here if we can. 1-2 pocket you're going to see filled up, but the ball actually is going to be rolling off a little too firm. Watch as it cuts through. It takes the head pin back and in, shoots the 3 pins of the wall and around. He's going to make his spare, though. I guarantee it. Good spare shooter, George.
Certainly is. Well, we roll into the 8th frame, and again, anybody's match.
Only 19 pins lead by Riga.
Well, you used to see in the competitive matches and the big scores here on BPA King of Bowling. And, this week is no exception. We had a close match the first one, and we're right there again, George. Left-hand lane, lane 9. The lane where Riga changed balls and wound up with the optimum product. Looks good again.
He got it again.
That was perfect.
Now, this is a very important shot for Greg. This would be for the double, and that's the only way he's going to start gaining ground on Riga, because Riga just spares along, and double be real nice here for Greg.
Just sipping on that Pepsi there and looking at the king saying, I want to see you again. They gave us one heck of a match. There you go. Greg Fiegel gave us a fine match, but in the 9th frame, as you can see, opening and leaving the door wide open for Riga Kalfas to go out with 2-12. and go on to our championship match to face Glenn Meese, 212, a winner in Game 2 today.